Today we are going to talk about LinkedIn events. Now, LinkedIn events actually is an old feature of LinkedIn that was brought back, I think, about a year ago. And they have been tweaking some of the features, and I believe they are going to be tweaking them a little bit more. But if you run your own business, which I think everybody here does, or if you're in sales or business development, using LinkedIn events, or any event even, is a real easy way to generate leads regularly for your business. And I'm going to go into that in more detail. Now, this should take probably no more than half an hour because it's quite straightforward, but if you've got any questions, let me know. Just going to share my screen, I hope. Can you see my screen which says LinkedIn events? Yes? Okie dokie. So a couple of slides, but really it's going to be kind of live and interactive if it'll play the game. So what are the benefits of doing a LinkedIn event? So why bother really? And ultimately, the key thing is, I mean, for any business, is about having a regular flow of leads. Now, for those that don't know me, I'll introduce myself first of all. My name is Maureen Kane. I spent 20 years as a sales and marketing director for mainly tech companies, but also startups. They were all startups. And my goal was to generate as much business as possible with as little amount of money. And they were all strapped for cash. And webinars and LinkedIn was a huge thing that we used to generate leads weekly. I managed a sales team, and the ideal scenario for me would be to give them a list of leads, or an Excel spreadsheet with leads, or in their CRM system, a list of leads every single week that they could follow up. Now, a lead can mean lots of things to different people, but for me, a lead is somebody potentially interested in buying your details, buying your product or service, and you've got their name, and if you've got your email address and a way of connecting with them, to me, that's a lead. And with the LinkedIn events, every week, if you put the effort in, you could get an Excel spreadsheet with a list of leads. And sadly, if you're the business owner, that means that you could follow them up. If you've got a sales team, they could follow them up. But either way, it's giving you potential prospects to speak to every week. And for most people, especially going into now September, October, November, September is a great time for lead generation. So lead generation, putting your products and services out there, putting yourself out there, building up that pipeline of people that could buy your product at some point in time. Because we all know, whether we like it or not, people just don't buy straight away. Quite often it takes them some time to buy from you. So if you can get them in your sales funnel and start that conversation, getting connections, getting them to follow you, getting them to engage with you on an event like this, for example, that's one step closer to getting some of the people to buy. Now, of course, not everybody is going to buy from you ever. That's a fact. But I always think people aren't just going to buy from me. It's just not now. They might buy at some point. So I'll always keep the communication going. You never know. Welcome to anybody that's just joined me. I've just started, and we're talking about the benefits of LinkedIn events. So one, I'll provide you with a regular flow of leads. And again, it's so important to have that constant flow. Anybody that's been off for the whole of August might come back thinking, shit, where's my leads? Because people, if you're not continually talking to them, continually posting on LinkedIn, touching these people in one way or another, they dry up potentially. So it's important to keep talking to them. It's a really soft sales approach, and the sales has changed dramatically in the last 20 years. A lot of people don't do cold calling. A lot of people run away from cold calling, including me. And using, social media, plus email, plus messages, plus events like this is a really soft way to sell what you do and showcase your expertise. And events also, if you're talking about what you're good at, I mean, there's lots of people here, whether you're a coach or you're providing a technical product, you can do an event to showcase A, that you know your stuff, and B, that, people might want to work with you. So it's a real opportunity for people to get to see you. And rather than have one-to-ones with everybody, people can get to see you all at once. And also, it's great content. We're all looking for stuff that's content just now. Having an event is a great post that you can do. You can talk about the benefits, why you, but it's a great piece of content. But ultimately, you know, running events for me is a lead generation tool, and it's something that, I mean, most people, I believe, should be doing weekly, certainly if not twice a month. I'm doing 3 events this week and about 7 or 8 this month. And again, it takes about 30-40 minutes of my time, but, you know, and maybe once you've done a couple, 10-15 minutes preparation, but a little bit of work pre, post, and setting it up. So we're going to talk today about the basics, how to set it up. We're going to talk about pre-event, during the event, and follow-up. And, you know, I'll touch on each of these. If you've got any questions, please note them, and at the end, we'll give you an opportunity. So let's just jump into LinkedIn. Here's LinkedIn. So first of all, an event. So where are LinkedIn events on LinkedIn? You know, they constantly add new features and never tell us where they are. Well, if you go to the left-hand side where it's got your profile, it's got typically, if you manage a page, if you scroll down, it will have groups that you're a member of, also events. So below you will see events that I'm running. But if I want to create a new one, which will start from this, I'll just click and show you how easy it is to set it up. So the first thing is to set it up. It's pretty easy, and I manage quite a few different pages. So the benefit of, the great thing about it also is you can either do it from your company page or showcase page or your personal profile. Now this event is set up via my LinkedIn Breakfast Club, my company page. And also the reason why I do that, all the events will actually list under your company page. So setting up, I won't go into great detail, but I'll just show you how easy it is. You create a banner. Now this event, which I'll jump to, just show you this event, because here's one I preferred earlier. This event, I created the banner in Canva in a couple of minutes. So you would basically choose who's the organizer, give it a banner, put your logo in, give the event a name and a date and time. And I would typically, I mean, I know some people run, it could be a mastermind, it's running all day. For me personally, online, anything more than an hour, I'm going to be draining. I mean, running online events, which a lot of us have been doing or participating, it can be quite draining. So for me, I try and keep it to 40 minutes max, 45 minutes, because otherwise I think people switch off. Give a little bit of description. Speakers are great. So if you've got any customers, partners, collaborators, get somebody involved, because it's great to have somebody on that call that can kind of talk about how good you are, or talk about your services, so it's not just you. Make the event public. That's important, so that you can be found on Google, but also anybody who's not a connection can join as well. This is the key thing. You need to click to make it work, use a LinkedIn registration form. Now, to do this, you need to have a privacy policy on your website. So mine's is, I'll just go to a LinkedIn Breakfast Club. Actually, there it is. So mine's is LinkedIn Breakfast Club privacy. If you don't have that, it might be worthwhile. You can easily create one. So, and that's just because obviously if you're collecting data, GDPR, etc., don't ask me the full details, but if you're collecting data, you need to have a privacy policy. If you don't have one, it's worthwhile getting one. And I think legally you have to have one if you've got a website. It's an online event, yes, and the broadcast link. Now this is basically, I use Zoom, but there's lots of other, and most people use Zoom these days. You would typically set this up first of all on Zoom or whatever your preferred online platform is, and put the link in here. That's the basics of it set up, and I'll just show you, as I said. This is the event no, it's not, this is the event from yesterday. And once it's set up, it will look something like this. So again, you can see it's online, you can check the details, you can see the attendees, and you can edit it, obviously, if you want to edit it. This was yesterday, so I can't edit it. But there's also a number of things that you can do. You can, of course, in fact, that's setting up. Any questions on setting up before I move on to kind of promoting, etc.? No, straightforward. So where's my little PowerPoint? There we go, the basics. So jumping ahead of myself. So the next thing we're going to talk about, now that seems pretty easy, during pre-event. So you've set it up. Now, the first thing you want to do, get my notes. The first thing you want to do is to post about it, really. So, of course, again, it being content, you can easily create, as soon as you create an event, it's going to say, do you want to post about it anyway? So you can share in a post, in a message. You can copy the link to, you can copy the link and add it anywhere. You can put it on basically any social media platform. And the key thing is, if you're going to use lead events as lead generation, and in an ideal world, if you've got enough content, because remember, once you've got this content, you can roll it out month on month, every month. So for me, over the next, certainly next couple of months, I'll be rolling out at least one event every week, sometimes two, depending on my schedule. But it's a great way to show value and also to get leads. But if you do one a week, honestly, you will be generating 100 to 200 leads minimum each month. Now that's a great, now if you can get a couple of them to convert, you know, that's the game, or obviously more if you want more. But so you want to share this in a post, you want to talk about it. If you can get any customers, partners, etc., you want to plan what you're going to say and get them to obviously mention in the actual talk. So I mean, for me, typically I'll do a couple of slides which I prepare in Canva. You can do in PowerPoint, and then I'll typically do it live. But you know, it's up to you, whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable in. I'm just using my laptop and Zoom. You can obviously use fancy recording equipment, fancy video, but if you're doing it all the time, to be honest, I think that's fine. So you can view the details. You can also chat to people and see who else is attending. So you can connect to these people, of course, if you want to at this point. And, you know, you can start a conversation. You can see analytics about various different things, etc. But the key thing is you can see who's going and, you know, who's not. So the first thing you want to do pre-event is, of course, invite people. You can invite people in lots of ways. So posting about it to get people. Somebody's asking a question. Who's asking a question?
Yeah, sorry, I am. Apologies. I just wanted to ask, with the link, are you able to, it's Xenia Winter from Bottom Line.
I can't hear you. You think you're on mute? Hi, Xenia.
Can you hear me? No,
I can't
okay.
hear you. You're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now? No.
You're still on mute, I think.
Ignore me. Forget it. Don't worry.
You're in silent. I can see you and see you moving your lips, but I can't hear you.
That's fine. Don't worry.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Message me afterwards. You can't. Can everybody else hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear her as well.
Thumbs up. I can't see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
Thank you.
I can hear Xenia.
Sorry about that. So where was this? Anyway, so the basics. So you want to be able to post about it to get people, you know, going, and obviously share the link to the event, which is here in the post. You want to invite people. Now you can invite people in lots of different ways. You can, actually, I can't invite people to this one because it is in the past, but I have got another one, meet and greet LBC members. So if this is a one that's in the future, I can just click here and invite. You can invite up to 1,000 people per week, believe it or not. So you can go for it to your heart's content. And LinkedIn have really limited numbers. So this is why this is a great way for lead generation. And again, typically it works best if you know their name. So you can invite them this way, but you can also send messages to people and say, you know, hey, it's been a while since we spoke. Just want to let you know that we're running this event. You know, here's a link to if you want to join. And Breakfast Club actually does that as a service. I'm not here to plug that, but we can send out 1,200 messages for you per month to promote your event. And so you want to invite them, as many people as possible. And again, if you're running these weekly, I wouldn't advise to invite 1,000 people every single week, because number one, you probably don't have time. And number two, if you're inviting the same people every single week, it'll get annoying. So typically what I do, I'll post about it once or twice a week. I will ask a few people to either join and invite people. So I've got anything between, you know, 30 to 100 people turning up. For Zoom, the paid version, you can only have up to 100 people. Any more than that, I think it's going to get a bit chaos. So post about it, invite people, share externally. You could even put it on an Eventbrite, put it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever platforms you're on. Plan what to say. But also what I love and why you need to click on the link to the event is you can manage the event, which means manage attendees. And this is where, you know, for me, this is something relatively new on LinkedIn. You can download the registration details. And here is one I prepared earlier. I have blanked out the email addresses, but literally you get a list of attendees by name, by job title, and by email address. You get that before. So if you want, you could email everybody the day before and just say, really looking forward to seeing you on an event. You could also put in a little nice button saying, click here if you want to book a one-to-one, and you could tell them more about your services in there as well. So again, you're introducing them, you're thanking them for coming, but nothing too salesy at that point. This is all pre the event. In the ideal world, I mean, again, if you're doing them weekly, if you've started to build up a nice following on LinkedIn, you're going to start to get people, you know, wanting to hear what you've got to say. And in terms of what you want to talk about, I mean, anything, I mean, whatever it should of course be in line with what you're doing as a business. So rather than just talking about your services, really you want to talk about giving people tips and hints about how to do something. Or, you know, if you've got a product you can show people, certainly you could show them a demo, but again, not many people, if it's going to be a sales pitch, not many people are going to agree to turn up to a sales pitch. So keep in mind the topic, that it is relevant, if that makes sense. So pre-event, a little bit of promotion, you can do it yourself, get a VA or get us to help you, but a little bit of planning and prep goes a long way. Just prepare what you're going to say, like any event. During the event, get my notes for this. So ultimately you want to showcase your expertise. You want to talk about, you know, what you're good at, talk about, you know, why people should work with you, get it in there somewhere. And, you know, if you can get anybody else to speak, I don't think I've got anybody here, but yesterday I did an event and I had a few customers who were talking at the event, talking about why they joined the LinkedIn Breakfast Club, for example. So if you can get people to talk, certainly that's amazing. You can also present an offer at the end. Now, I don't do this every time, but sometimes I will at the end of it saying, we've got an exclusive offer today. Anybody that signs up, they're going to get a bonus offer. But again, don't make the whole presentation about that. But it is a good chance to obviously, you know, I'll typically will get in my LinkedIn Breakfast Club website somewhere. And, you know, again, you want to be making sure people get to know your brand. So showcase your expertise, get people to talk about it, present an offer. Without a doubt, share your contact details, which I will share at the end, because it's amazing the amount of people that will message me after and say, how do I get in contact with you? And again, if you've emailed them before or after, you can include that as well. And the other thing which is great to do is on the event, you see if you've learned anything today or if you enjoyed this event, I would love it if you could give me a review, or you could write a post about it, or give me a recommendation. And again, these are little things, you know, reviews on Google, recommendations on LinkedIn. It doesn't need to be from a client. It could be somebody that you've trained, somebody you've helped, and these all help you get more business. So again, that could help you generate more business. Moving on to post-event. Now, before I move on to post-event, one question a lot of people ask me is how much in advance should I set up an event? Typically, I would say 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, I am a last minute Annie and I have tried to set up an event in like 3 days, but you know, people typically need time in their schedule. So 2 to 3 weeks gives you time to promote it, gives you time to plan it, and gives you time to get the right amount of people there. Whether you want to record it or not, you know, I have 2 chains of thought, and I'm recording this one, and I'll typically will record most meetings, but a lot of them I won't share. Number one, because if I'm giving away golden nuggets of information, I don't want to share it all over the internet. I might share it with LinkedIn Breakfast Club members only, because they pay a membership fee. But potentially, for example, the LinkedIn company pages events I've been doing, I've not been sharing them at all, just because, you know, it's hot off the press, really exclusive information. But what I will do, is I will slice and dice that recording and use it as content. So again, this recording, I will probably slice and dice, put it on YouTube. I will be using this as content and I will be posting about it, but I'll also be sending it to people who attended, or more so people who didn't attend. I mean, I think about 40 people signed up for this event. And yesterday, I think 100 people signed up for the event and there was about 30 people there. Don't be disheartened. That's typically what happens. The great thing is you can follow up afterwards. And this is where typically I find the sales happen. It's all about the follow-up, which is typical for any sales. You know, sales, a lot of people are really good at promoting what they do or talking about what they do, but what they're not so good at is following up. And this is where it makes a difference. So post-event, you know, again, you've got the content. I would certainly record it anyway. And let me just come out of this. Stop sharing for a minute so you can see me. So I would certainly record it anyway because it's great content. But, you know, there's lots of different things you can do post-event. You can connect to people on LinkedIn. And again, if you've got a VA, you can get your VA to do it. You can then email people. So you've got the list, again, thanking them for attending. You can include the recording or not. You can at this point send them an offer if you've got an offer or a special promotion. You can give them the next sales action. So that might be, oh, please click this button to book a one-to-one with me if you'd like to know more about working with me. Again, you can ask them for feedback or you can ask them for a recommendation, which again is all part of sparking that conversation. And sales, that's how sales start. It starts with a conversation. My little dog's trying to get in the door. So these are things you could do post-event. I mean, for me, typically, and you probably get an email, it will be an option to book a one-to-one with me. Because again, you know, if you make that one-to-one connection with somebody, it's a lot easier for them to buy something from you or sign up or whatever it is you're doing. Because sales do take time, and this is more of a soft way. People are getting to know you, even if it's in a group situation, they're getting to know you a little bit better. And of course, you could also message people on LinkedIn as well. So typically I would email people and message them on LinkedIn, just say, thanks for attending. Here's a link to the recording. And, you know, quite often I will get sales from people who didn't manage to attend. And, you know, they'll probably book a one-to-one with me, or they'll listen to the recording, say, that was great. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to book a one-to-one and discuss it. And over the last couple of months, that's how I've got most of my sales, by using this method. So it's a really simple way to, you know, just get people to buy into you and what you're doing, educate more people about what you do, showcase your expertise and skills, and, you know, get some people to follow up with, because, you know, sales, you need to have a pipeline. And this is one of the ways, not all of them, you can do this. And again, if you promoted it on Eventbrite Facebook, you might also have a list from that as well, because Eventbrite is, again, free. You can use, you can promote it. And if you wanted to, you could get people to opt in your mailing list, and then again, start putting them through your email sequence of, here's a video for hot tips, you know, and you know, sending a short kind of email sequence to get them subtly to buy or not to buy from you, or to sign up to your membership, to sign up to your Facebook group, whatever it is your sales funnel is. An event is a great way to start it off. And I think that's pretty much it. Let me just go back to my sharing. More puppies talking to me. Yes, so that's pretty much it. So this is my email address and website. If anybody's got any questions they don't want to ask here. Apart from that, I want to open it up for questions. Who have we got? Hands up, any questions? Anybody?
Is it
Zika,
just for
hand up, have you got a question?
Is it just for members then?
These are all
Is it for members? I think there's something wrong with your microphone.
Anybody? No?
Maureen, Rose has got a question. I don't think you
Andy,
can
I think
hear.
you're saying something, but you're on mute unless I've muted you. I can't hear you. Sorry, I hear you now.
I think Rose had a question, but I don't think you could hear her, but we could all hear her.
Sorry, I think my volume was down. Yeah, Rose, sorry, what was that?
Is it all for? I mean, I'm a member of LinkedIn. I've got the Navigator, but is it for everybody or just people with Navigator?
No, it's great. It's free for everybody. So this is just a free feature of LinkedIn. So anybody can use this on LinkedIn, and you know, whether you got Navigator or not. I mean, people, I mean, I've got Navigator, but you know, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily good for everybody. But this is free for anybody.
Right, thanks.
So again, I would just try it out, even if you do an event. But I mean, I wouldn't expect people just to turn up themselves. You do have to do a little bit of promotion. That's why you do have to invite people, message people, post about it a couple of times. One post probably isn't enough. So for me, typically 2 or 3 posts plus inviting people will get a decent number of people signed up. And again, only probably 1/3 of those people will attend, if not less. But again, you've got the details to follow up with.
Can you hear me now,
Yes,
Maureen?
apologies,
Yes.
that was me, not you, sorry.
No, that's okay, that's fine. I was just asking before, when you add in the link for the platform that you want to use, whether it's Zoom Info or On24, my question was, if I'm hosting a webinar on On24, can I use the LinkedIn platform as a supplementary platform?
Absolutely. I mean, I typically will put the link on. I'd often set up a Facebook event plus a LinkedIn event and just use the same link. You can use any link as long as it obviously is relevant. I mean, absolutely. I mean, LinkedIn events.
It'll all tie in. It'll all tie in with each other.
Well, you'll have to follow up leads on both platforms. So you mean, but ultimately, that's why, I mean, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's all leads. Like if you put it on Eventbrite as well, you'll get leads from there. But you know, it's all good to have. It's a nice problem to have. I mean, quite often on Facebook now, I'll put the LinkedIn event because ideally it's easier to follow up. They're all on one Excel spreadsheet to some degree. But, you know, the LinkedIn event is getting better. Now it's starting to remind people about events. It starts to give you the option to put in calendar, which it never had before. And I do think it's something they're enhancing a little bit more. So it's something worth using. And again, if you do a post about an event, LinkedIn seems quite like that because it's a link within LinkedIn. So it generally does quite well in terms of views.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question. In terms of the registrations, I could see, you know, who had registered for this event. Is there a way in which you can kind of hide that, or is it just a feature?
The registered event, you don't need to click that, but obviously to me, if you don't click that, you won't get the details. You'll be able to see the names on LinkedIn, but you won't get the Excel spreadsheet. And to be honest, I don't know, as an attendee, I don't think so, to be honest, but it's something that, I mean, next time I sign up to an event, but there's no, every single person that signs up for this, I've got the details. Put it that way.
No, I think the question is, if we hold an event, sometimes we get competitors that join it.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to be able to see the people that have joined the webinar. I want to be able to hide the fact that, you know, that they can see that Andy Mitchell signed up, Graham Headley.
To my knowledge, no, there's not a way to hide it. Andy's
I'm kind of agree with you. It shows people that are your contacts that have signed up, but it doesn't show people who you're not in your network.
Let me just look at this. So yeah, I don't know about that, but it's a good question. Let's just see. So yeah, so if I go to an event, let's see this one. I mean, ultimately, it's not going to show you anybody. It's not that you're not blocked, but it does show non-connections. So this one, for example, I think I'm connected to most people. Let me just see. I'm connected to everybody on that. It does actually show second and third connections, so I'm not sure, but you mean they can't get their email addresses, but I think they can maybe see who's attending. Yeah,
because that's actually quite a useful tool for if you look at competitor events, then you can see who to invite to yours because they've attended similar ones. Absolutely. So that's an extra string to the bow, I suppose.
Absolutely. You can also basically kick people out and say that you don't want them to attend. You can basically go through the list and basically say that if you see that a competitor has signed up, if you want to, I mean, again, if you're running lots of events, and sometimes you don't have time to do that, but you could potentially basically block them from this and they couldn't see any events and they couldn't attend. Obviously, they can still join the Zoom if they got the link before, but again, you could decide not to let them in, but it becomes the point of spending a lot of time. But absolutely, you can see the names, to my knowledge, of people as long as you are first or second. I'm not sure about third, but they certainly won't get their email addresses or anything like that. That's only the organizer.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Any other questions or anything? Has it been useful?
Yeah, I just want to add, like, I've done LinkedIn events before with people and they've been a bloody nightmare. Not I've done them, you know, I've booked on to other ones and then you've struggled to get the link and that, you know, like it's flagged up the events happen, then you've gone into the event and you've looked for the link and you can't find it and you end up missing the event. This time, it was a lot slicker. So like I went in and I could see the link and I could just go from LinkedIn into what we needed to get connected to you. When I've done it before, it's not worked. So they've obviously changed the layout of the event so they're a bit more, you know,
they have, and to be honest, as an
user-friendly.
organizer, that's been a nightmare in the past as well, but they have sorted that out, so it's a lot easier, as you said, to get the link. I mean, it probably, and I'd imagine they'll be doing more work on it, but that has changed dramatically, and I think that's changed about 3 months ago. But yeah, now, you know, as long as you've got one link throughout, it should be relatively easy for people, and it does typically remind you as well. So you know, I think, you know, if you've got enough content to do weekly events, I think definitely do it. If you don't have, do it at least once a month or twice a month. And again, for the likes of you, Athol, I'm sure you could, even if you do, doesn't need to be 40 minutes. It could be 15, 20 minutes. It could be a morning session. It could be, you know, it could be anything to do with coaching. It could be about so many different things. But I think rather than make it so salesy, if you do, you know, you give some value, it really helps.
See, I was just thinking, I've written down here, for me, I would just do like 20 minutes and then leave 10 for speaking, you know, like people to ask you questions and stuff, because actually sometimes that's where the most value comes out, is from the questions at the end.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I said it is just getting that one-on-one, because some people might not want to book a one-to-one with you, but they'll book onto this, and then maybe after this they think, well, actually, yeah, I do like the sound of what you've got to say, or I do agree with what, you know, what you're saying, so that maybe like to book on, or they might even just decide to sign up and buy from you. And that's why the follow-up is key, because I think follow-up, some people might think, yes, Maureen, I'm going to sign up right now, but if you don't follow up with them, before you know what, they forget and they think, oh well, maybe, etc. So I think that's, follow-up is absolutely key. So if you have enjoyed today, I will be sending you an email. Please give me a recommendation or a thumbs up. And look, I'm doing lots of events in September, so hopefully see you there.